Welcome back to the KLT Fitcast, the podcast where we ask and answer the hard questions, giving you real life tools that you can reflect on and with and take away with certain tools that are going to help you achieve your goals. See, I always butcher it at the end.
Yeah.
My name is Kate, personal trainer and coach. Lost over 150 pounds with healthy lifestyle changes. I preach the long-term game, meaning it's a marathon, not a sprint when it comes to fat loss. I'm an entrepreneur. We own and operate a private fitness studio in Peterborough, Ontario called KLT Fit. And this is my husband, Josh.
Hey, I'm Josh. I hate these introductions. I'm so horrible at it. What was it that I used to say? I'm living my dream life as a trophy husband. Not quite yet, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, I don't love that one.
Yeah, I know you don't.
Okay, we'll talk about who you are. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I am a mental health worker with over 10 years of experience. I'm obviously Kate's husband. I do a lot of the back end work around the gym. I like to say I kind of keep the lights on and keep people
That's punny.
showing up. Yes, I know.
That's punny with the topic that we're going to cover.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So we try and kind of bridge the gap with our two areas of expertise.
Yeah, bring what real life is like into our fitness routine and what it takes to make any kind of lifestyle change, whether that is making a change in your mental health, the way you think about the world, the things that you do, or if you want to become healthier or more well.
And bringing light to the struggles, the ups and the downs, having the real conversations, because shit happens. The universe is going to try and derail you.
Yeah.
And also bringing together that fitness, exercise, and strength training can really coincide with what you do.
Yeah, it's an amazing treatment for any sort of depression, anxiety, any kind of issues with your overall mental health. Not necessarily mental illness. It can definitely help with that, but fitness in general will improve your overall mental health.
Do you think, this is not in my notes, do you think that, I would even say movement should be incentivized for the large population?
I think it couldn't hurt. I think that
like if you do blah, 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 you get a $200 grocery credit.
I remember there used to be that app where if you it tracked your steps.
The Carrot app. I loved that app.
Yeah, and it would incentivize you to move your body.
And you got to pick where your points went to. I picked the movies.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you want to be a bit preventative in healthcare overall, getting people up and out of their sedentary lives is going to help with that.
Anyway, so when we run for office, that can be something that
It won't be me, it'll be you.
Can you tell I ran this morning? I've solved all of the world's problems.
Yes, very clearly.
Yes. No podcast last week.
Yeah.
What did we do last weekend? Oh, we were celebrating your birthday.
Yeah, we went and
and I had some groups here.
We saw a play and a musical, and yeah.
So we have a few different topics to cover. I think a lot of them are going to be about you and bringing your lens to it.
Sure.
I'm going to throw in a little bit.
Yeah. Sprinkle some you in there.
Yeah, of course. But the first thing, we briefly talked about it before we came on here, because I struggle with how to put the words together to make this the right question.
Yeah, and I think also you wanted to make sure that I was okay with going to certain places.
Yes. Yeah. We grew up in a very different family style situation. So we all know that kids grow up to be adults. Newsflash.
I haven't grown up yet.
But with that often comes the things that you learn as a kid can often shape who you are as an adult. And
It's not that they can, they do.
they do, and that can be either negative or positive.
Yeah. I think,
I
yeah.
think the reason that this question came to my mind, sorry to jump back in,
Yep.
is the whole idea that your kids are watching. I
Yep.
have a crap ton of moms in here, and we often talk about, yeah, your kids are watching. They see you doing the hard things. They see you putting in the effort. They see all of that, and that is going to shape them
Mhm.
into having fitness, health, and wellness and prioritizing your own goals as a part of their everyday life because they've learned it so early.
Yeah. So there's a few different ways I want to tackle this, and I'm gonna say each one now, and then we'll dive into each topic. You used to work in kindergarten.
Yep.
And so we will talk a bit about how at kindergarten age you could see the way things happened in a child's home and the way the parents communicated through the communication styles of a child.
Yes.
So we'll talk a bit about that in a second. I also think that when children are exposed to hardships, it can often build resiliency. I'm a really big fan of easy doesn't create character.
Mhm.
We can talk a bit about that. And I will talk a bit about how things were for me as I was growing up and the different challenges that I faced, and the emotional stuff around that. And I will talk about how I have a core belief that if you reflect on things and realize a trend that you're in or a decision that you've made and you continue to do that same thing over and over again, that is your choice, and that is not a habit, it is not a tendency, it is you actively choosing to be that person.
Mic drop. We can cut right now. That's it.
So
I'm
we'll talk
kidding.
about all of that.
And see if we even get to the other things.
No, we'll get to the
Okay.
other things.
All right.
So when you worked in kindergarten,
Mhm.
I want you to think about when you would see kids come with their different forms of communication, different ways of handling maybe distress in the
Mhm.
moment, or
Lashing out.
yeah, or conflict,
Mhm.
like those things. Could you would you say that the kid was just that way?
No.
Why not?
Well, because it often stemmed from learned behavior,
Yeah,
parenting styles, being rescued immediately
yeah,
in a given situation and not being allowed to or able to develop those key and crucial self-regulation skills.
yeah,
Um, the extension to that is you could always tell the kids who had experience with other kids
yeah,
and the kids who came straight from home to a classroom with 30 plus kids.
yeah. Uh, uh, you kind of brushed up against something that I want to hone in on, and that's the concept of learned helplessness.
Mhm.
Because I think in kindergarten, that becomes a profound thing. When you see the kid that never had to encounter any sort of distress or um, challenge in their life because parent prevented them from experiencing that or
Mhm.
solved all of the problems prior to school. When someone enters school, just like when someone enters adulthood, those safety nets kind of go away
Mhm.
and kids fail, adults fail,
Yeah.
people fail. Like that's part of life. And if you haven't developed any sort of ability to identify and deal with that,
Mhm.
big emotions
Not even
happen.
just a coping strategy,
Yeah.
but a way to navigate it and come out the other side.
Yeah. And like that's a lot of times what we see in this work, but also in my work,
Mhm.
when someone tries something and they have a bad experience, they don't have the emotional capacity in order to, okay, I'm going to keep going even though it
Mhm.
sucked.
Mhm.
I this didn't work for me, and I'm going to take this as a learning opportunity and do something different. No, they get stuck in this cycle of avoidance.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about avoidance in previous episodes of the podcast, but you get stuck in that cycle and it just perpetuates the problem.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot in fitness with people that try, maybe as a child, they tried a sport or they were terrible in gym class or they,
Me and gymnastics.
sure, like those kinds of things. So they got exposed to it. They found that they weren't very good. And it became a blanket statement. Anything that is fitness related is going to make me feel
Right.
this way.
Right. That one, not even a poor experience, but that one experience shaped.
Everything.
Yeah.
And that, like, when you're trying, I'm going to even use diet culture as a thing for this. When you're trying to lose weight and you try a fad diet and you do really well for a couple of weeks, but then everything falls off the rails. Well, dieting doesn't work
Yeah.
for
I
me.
can't lose weight.
I can't lose weight. How many times do you hear that? Like,
Are you asking me?
no, I know
So
the
many.
I know the answer to that is so many
many
times.
Yeah.
The reality isn't that dieting is a problem. It's the way you're framing that
Yeah.
dieting.
Yeah.
The
You
the
haven't been given the tools.
yeah. The fact that you are looking at things and saying, well, the only way to diet is to restrict this and restrict that, and oh, I can't eat this, and donuts are bad, and everything is horrible, and the only way I'm ever going to lose weight is to drink water and eat air. Of course.
Don't forget ice cubes.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget ice cubes for dessert. Of course, yes, you're going to lose weight for a little while. And of course, you're going to return back to what life was before because your body is going to say, yeah, you're dying.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually dying here. You're not giving me any nutrients. Fuck this. You're hangry. Go and get
Go
a
have a
giant
binge.
go and get a giant cheeseburger from your favorite fast food place.
Yeah. And down comes
And
the
then you
weekend
made
binge.
that one mistake and it turns into 40 mistakes and you've just thrown in the towel and given up and now dieting doesn't work. I cannot lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not how things are actually in real life.
Right.
It's that you learned this through probably watching your parents struggle with their weight.
For sure.
You watched your parents struggle with being active.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are, if your parents were really fit, you followed that in
Mm-hmm.
some capacity.
Yeah.
Whether or not you found a different thing that you enjoy doing fitness wise
Yeah.
or not
Mm-hmm.
than what your parents do.
I wasn't exposed whatsoever to, I mean, I was exposed to sports,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of,
But sports were for boys, for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely not exposed to like the way of life that I live now.
Yeah. No, and so you broke that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And we can chat about that now. We can move into this because we've talked about that learned helplessness, that learned peace, where when we're children,
Yeah.
the only way we learn is by observing initially.
Yeah.
Because for the first year and a half of our lives,
Yeah.
all we do is watch, eat, and poop.
Yeah. Okay, this is bringing me back to, now I'm going back to kindergarten.
Yeah.
The kids who, and granted, I shouldn't even be smiling at this, but God, it made me laugh so much. They would swear. They would say, fuck, shit, bitch.
Yeah.
And me trying to contain every ounce like of laughter in me and having to talk to parents and the parents like, I have no idea where that came from.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, dropping the F-bomb.
All right, Sally, you're fucking full of shit.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's where my head went. Anyway,
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah. So like we've established learned behavior is a learned thing. Then we can also establish that this concept that I talked about where when you become aware of something that is causing you problems, if you continue to do that something, it's your choice to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You are actively choosing that. Whether or not you want to admit that to yourself, it doesn't change the fact that you're choosing it.
Yeah.
And you can be unaware that you're doing these things and have no idea, but chances are if you've listened to this podcast at all, you've learn some of the tools to
Yeah.
recognize what is and what isn't helpful
And
for
hopefully
you.
spend some time reflecting on some of the podcasts that we've put out there.
Yeah. So it then becomes, well, if I don't like the choice that I'm making, how can I choose something different? And I think that answer becomes, how do you choose anything different?
Mhm.
How do you decide to start doing something different than what you've done your whole life?
Yeah.
How?
You just do it.
You just do it, but you also learn about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, how do you
You've got to learn the tools to be able to do the thing. Like, to put this in another perspective, let's say you had never used a computer in your life, and now you're starting a new job that requires you to use a computer. Are you just going to continue to avoid using computers because you
No.
haven't used one your whole life?
No, you're gonna experience it, you're gonna use it.
You might hate it,
Yes. Yes.
but you can.
You might do some work ahead of time learning about it and doing, like,
Mhm.
I don't know, like watching YouTube videos in this context.
Yeah,
Actually, just kidding, you probably can't go on YouTube. You probably don't know how to go on YouTube.
yeah,
But yes, you would spend the time, and then exposing yourself to it
yeah,
is also gonna help too.
yeah. So that you understand the thing that you want to be trying to do.
Mhm.
Because if you didn't learn about it in childhood, if you didn't watch a parent do it or a family member do it, chances are you have no idea what it's all about. If you didn't watch putting this into a fitness context, if you didn't watch a family member go to a gym, you didn't have someone showing you how to move weights, chances are you fucking have no idea how to
Yes.
move a weight.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
Yes. And that's yeah.
Are you going to just continue to think, yeah, you know what, I probably should strength train, but I'm going to continue to choose not to?
Mhm.
Then you need to accept what's going to come
Right.
out of that.
Right.
And that is your choice.
Yeah, you
Full
can't
stop.
have unrealistic expectations for yourself
Yeah.
when
Full stop. As an adult, no one can force you to do something you don't want to do.
Mhm.
The same is true. No one can force you to stop doing the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
You get to make those choices and you have to be okay with the consequences. And if you don't like it,
Change it.
change it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, like, the only person that can make that change is you. The only person. Full stop. No one's going to do it for you. No one can lift the weight for you. Like, putting it into that fitness context again, literally no one can lift that first weight for you.
Right.
You have to do it yourself. You can expose yourself to all kinds of social media that's fitness related. You can watch the movements.
Yeah.
You can do all of that stuff so that you have a pretty firm understanding of what it takes to lift a, a dumbbell.
Yeah. But until you actually enter a space, or maybe it's at your house, but
Yeah.
you enter a given space that requires you to pick up a weight.
With the intention of picking up that weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we come to,
Were you waiting for me to add something more to it?
no.
Okay.
So then we come to, well, like, my childhood was really shitty, my life was really shitty, whatever, right? Like, people will say that and it becomes like the excuse of
Mhm.
why they don't.
Mhm.
Or my life is so busy, I have so many things going on, I'm not going to. Okay, that's your choice.
Yep.
But again, if you're aware that it's a problem and you are choosing not to change it, that is your choice.
Yeah.
You get to make that decision for
Right.
yourself, because every single person
And
in
nobody
our society gets to choose what's right for them.
and nobody can force it on you. No
Nope.
one can force you to make the changes. Nobody, and in fact, even if they try to force you to make the changes, because this comes across my like
Yeah.
DMs and email often, it's either partners, husbands, wives, spouses, even friends.
Or brothers, sisters.
Sure,
Yeah.
brothers, sisters, trying to get their partner or another person to completely buy into everything that they have
Yeah.
been successful at.
Yeah.
It actually only creates resentment. You
Yeah.
cannot force someone to make any change until it comes from them. Like
Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah. Even if it's causing a boatload of destruction in your
Exactly.
life.
Even if it's really hard on the person who so badly wants that person to see it and see what can come of it, it can't be done.
Takes a willing person. So back to the giving all of those excuses and saying, all of these things happened. You started out with the intention of wanting me to share, I could have become kind of a product of my own environment as well. Just in terms of like my parents separated when I was 10, 11 years old, and it was fucking messy.
Yeah. They hated
And
each other.
that would be a kind way of saying it. It was really messy. Um, I bounced between homes for a lot of time. Coupled with that, felt a sense of guilt and responsibility to my younger two siblings that I grew up with because they were a few years younger than me and lacked the emotional understanding of what was happening a lot of the time. I definitely felt like I got put in the middle a lot. Um, all of that being said, I also, for many points in time, had very low support for my own mental health, my own well-being. And I'm not blaming anyone. I think both of my parents absolutely did the best that they could. And I can point to, for every few negative things that happened, I can point to something that was supportive that did help
Right.
me as well.
Yes, for sure.
And those are the things that helped shape me to the person that I am
Yes.
now.
Yes.
And I didn't focus on all of those awful things that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Like to be a month away from 18 years old, so still a 17-year-old, and have your parent drive you to a shelter and drop you off and leave you there because the money was ending. That's a shitty thing to have happen to anyone, and very easily could have gone a very different way for me
Yeah, you could be someone who's
in darker places.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I got got a couple of jobs. I finished high school and worked and slowly built
I remember
myself.
we were in the area for whatever the reason was, and we ended up walking by
Oh,
that shelter, and you
yeah,
were like, "That was my bedroom right there."
yeah, yeah. They like lots of trauma, lots of very difficult times in my life, but also I can think back to my dad showing up to hockey games and
Yeah.
the Adams family showing up to all the different sports that I would invest my time into. I can think back to
I think this speaks to you a lot as well. Like, yes, and knowing what I know about your upbringing, just with what you've shared and what, quite frankly, your family has shared as well,
yeah,
you picking out all of the positives and saying that, yes, okay, shit happened. There was traumatizing things that happened, but here are a multitude of amazing positive things.
yeah.
Like, that speaks to you, because I feel like there are a lot of people who would dwell on all of that negative.
I mean, sure, but what purpose would that serve me? That doesn't make me a better person.
Agreed. But don't you think that there's a long list of people who would use that
Yes,
as the excuse and as the reason to never?
but going back to my philosophy, I'm aware.
Mhm.
At a young age, I became aware that if I dwelled on the negative, I was a really negative person.
Mhm.
If I gave that trauma life in my thought process, if I let it define me, then
It would define you.
it would define me, and that would be my choice, and I would have to live with the consequences of those choices. I didn't want that for myself.
Mhm.
I don't want that for myself. I
Mhm.
want to be a different person than that.
Hmm.
Yes, all of that stuff can have happened. It definitely took a toll on me. It left scars. It shaped how good I am at my job because I can understand things
Yeah.
on levels that a lot of people can't.
Yeah.
But I also recognize that the part of the who I am, it comes from all of the good that happened.
Definitely.
The nurturing moments, the encouragement, the time spent in the garage or on a job site with dad,
Hmm.
the times at home learning to cook with mom. Like there are moments of great
Yeah.
in all of that.
Yeah.
And I can choose to focus on those things and incorporate that to who I am, those moments of great, and share those pieces with the world and let the other stuff go.
Hmm.
And that takes a lot, but it also is so much better for me
Yeah.
and allows me to keep putting my
Yeah.
feet in front of each other.
And I would say too, at this point, it's probably just easier for you to continue with like using all of that as like a positive, right? It
Yeah,
would probably take more work for you now to quickly start to like dive into all of the negative.
sure. And I think if someone has lived in all of the negative for a really long time and
Yes.
is listening to this and they're like, holy crap, I am now in this moment for the very first time aware that I've been choosing this.
Ah, light bulb.
Like that change, I did that at a young age,
Yes.
which helped me a lot. If you're trying to do that as an adult, it's still possible. It just requires really intentional skill building.
Yes, because you've had more years of being trapped in that negative
Yeah,
negativity, negative headspace.
yeah. You haven't developed the skills that
Yeah.
I have
There's a
to
lot
be
more to
very good at it.
unlearn.
Yeah, yeah. There is a ton more to unlearn. And so allow yourself the grace to say, I'm new at this. I'm a novice at this.
Hmm.
I'm beginning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck up. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm not gonna be able to turn things into
Yeah.
positive learning experiences
Yes.
every time.
And give yourself some grace. But when you have the wins,
Celebrate them.
yes, own them.
Can let that be something that feels like a continuation
Yes.
of the positive
Yes.
work that you're doing instead of yeah, but
It's like building momentum when you're losing weight. You
yeah,
had a really great week. Yeah. Use that.
as fuel for the next week.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because the next week, if you lost 2 pounds this week, next week you might only lose half a pound.
Hmm.
But then when you average it all out, you've lost a pound a week
Right.
over a year, and that's
Exactly.
52 pounds.
Yeah.
And every single person that wants to lose weight would be over the moon if they lost 52 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like full stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the same in changing your attitude and changing your thought process in life. Allow yourself to just be that person that
Yeah.
you want to be
Yeah.
and stop being the person that's holding you back.
Yeah. You're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to have positivity. You should.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely should.
Is there anything else you want to touch on when it comes to that?
I don't know, is there anything else I was supposed to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Cool.
The next thing
Yeah.
is, y- and I asked you this the other day, and I didn't like what you did.
Uh-oh. Hopefully I do it again.
You are going to list 3 things that you're afraid of. And for context, I told Josh we were out for dinner on a date, might I add.
Uh-oh.
And we were talking about the podcast and things that we were going to touch on. And this question came up, and you said, well, what do you think I'm afraid of? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And then you rhymed off 14 different things that I'm afraid of. And I was like, whoa.
And I didn't even touch the one that
Yeah,
you thought I
0
was
of them
gonna.
were actually on my irrational list of things that I'm afraid of. So, F you. You're going to list your own 3 things. I'm going to list my own 3 things. And if you throw shade at me afterwards, and you can list your things that you actually think I'm afraid of, or I can go first.
No, I'll go first. I think coming up with 3 things that
They can
I'm.
be totally basic, one off
Yeah.
the hop. You already
Well,
said.
I know, like, the obvious one for me is heights. I
Yes.
have a huge
Sorry.
thing it's an irrational fear of heights, like even just going up and down in elevators. I would say I'm uncomfortable. I fear isn't the right word. I'm very uncomfortable in overcrowded situations.
Fair.
It's something that makes my skin crawl. Is kind of the best way to say it. And I mean, I guess snakes, like
Perfect.
snakes are fucking not my jam. Sorry, snake lovers.
My turn.
Yeah,
I feel like I have like some super basic ones, but then maybe a little couple more in-depth ones.
about 20 of them, you mean?
No,
No, I didn't say that.
I'm not changing my 3
Yeah.
based on what you said.
Oh, okay.
And
So,
mine
okay.
also, I don't think mine are in order whatsoever
All right.
because I don't know what I would put as like my biggest fear. Irrational fear of fire.
Yeah, that I know.
Irrational. And I've never experienced like a fire. Like you literally you had a fucking house fire as a kid.
Our entire home burned down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You came home to like, oh, our house is gone. That's never happened to me.
Yeah.
Terrified of like a barbecue, a campfire. I sit like
Far back.
nice
Yeah.
and far back.
Yeah.
Also, it's not a separate fear. It's the same fear. Motherfucking smoke detectors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
I
The
would say it's not
sound?
just smoke detectors, it's any abrupt, loud noise.
Oh God. Makes me cry, makes me just
Yeah.
sends me over the edge.
Panic
Okay.
attack. Yeah.
Second one, death.
Okay.
And I think it stems from the type of person that I am being such like a planner and I need to know what's coming next.
And death is unpredictable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't know when, you don't know how, you don't know what comes after that.
Yeah.
Even regardless of your beliefs, you literally don't know.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter who you believe in, what you believe in, when it comes to death, you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Well, that's the point of faith. Yeah.
Yes, but like, so that's a fear of mine. I think the last one, it's always in the back of my head, but I also know that I will never, it's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's that I gain the weight back and I get back to the 300-pound Kate who is sedentary, has no idea that like what is possible for her.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think that I would ever let that happen. My
Mm-hmm.
life is so drastically different now in terms of movement, food, all of that. I don't think that I would ever let it happen, but it would be something that I'm afraid of.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay. Anything that you want to add?
Nope. Nothing. Not at all. Not one thing.
They're going to want you to add at least a couple. I can picture a couple of them who are
People know if they know you, a
what
few of them,
what my fears are.
some of them, like they know it's almost fucking impossible to get you to do social things.
Oh, social anxiety. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You definitely have a fear of social uh things. Like, yeah. Can't remember all the other ones that I said.
You said I had a fear of like, I don't know if this was the word used, but like offending people or like
Oh yeah,
upsetting
you
people.
worry about what other people think
Yes,
all
that's
the
what it
time,
was.
and that is something that like
I definitely
I
agree with
have
that.
yeah, and it's something I don't identify with at all. Like, if you are one of my core people, you know you're one of my core people, and your opinions matter to me, but no one else's does.
Hmm.
Where it could be Susie Joe that you've never met before sends you a message and says that they don't like you and they're offended by something you said, and you will cry about it for days.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of fears that I think you have. I
Yeah.
can't really think of any.
Yeah. It's not like,
Screw you, Josh.
and it's not that I'm not afraid of things. It's just that I like push myself through that uncomfortable a lot.
Hmm.
And like, there's very few situations where I'm like, yeah, I just couldn't do that except for like when we're watching something and it's heights. Like we watched a movie last night and part of the movie was people trying to walk across like a chasm or on a
A
ladder and
what?
a chasm. It's like a
A
space.
chasm?
Yes.
I've never heard that word in my whole life.
Oh dear.
A chasm?
Stay pretty, honey.
Can you spell it?
CHASM.
Chasm?
Yeah.
Chasm. Hmm.
It's like
Wonder what the caption is.
yeah, it's a point between two cliffs, and in between it's like a giant hole or it's a chasm. Like there's no other way to describe it. Anyways, they were trying to walk across like ladders taped together and then
Big gust of wind.
a rope ladder, and I was like, yeah, there's no way I could do that. Like it'd be impossible for me. 0%. And then we watched people fall off of it, and I was like, that's
That's
fine.
why, you stupid idiot. That's why.
So yeah, like, but for the most part, like I will try and push myself in that uncomfortable a lot
Mhm.
because those uncomfortable moments are times when you grow. You know what?
Growth happens.
Yeah, but you know what? I think reflecting on it now, something that I am afraid of is letting people down. That would be
Okay.
like a deep-seated fear that I have.
I was thinking about that exact thing on my run, and I meant to bring it up.
Yeah, I would say that that is something that I would struggle with more than any other fear.
But I don't know if it's everyone, and I don't want that to sound like
No, it's the people that are important to you.
yes, exactly. It's not everyone.
Yeah. If you are one of those people that, and like I said, you know who you are if you're
Yes.
listening to this,
Yeah.
that are like the core people in my life. If
Yes.
you're one of those people and I let you down, that would be like the worst thing
Yeah.
that could happen.
I even feel like there have been times in our relationship where I just want to shake you because you're so afraid of letting people down, even if that person has let you down.
Mhm.
Whereas I'm like, fuck them.
Yeah. Well,
Fuck 'em.
as soon as someone wrongs you, it's like the book's closed.
No, it's not.
The book's closed, your opinion's formed, you're not redeeming yourself, but you still care so much about that person anyways, and we'll dwell on every interaction for months at a time, and I'm like 3 hours later over it.
Oh, must be nice. Okay, next thing.
Yeah.
The next two things are things that I've talked about on social media, just on my stories, like as a post-run thoughts. I thought that they would be good things to bring up here. Well, because on Instagram, you only get like 1 minute to really talk about something.
Sure. And
So-
you're also talking about it to yourself. And
I'm not talking, when my phone is up here, I'm not talking to myself. I am talking to my people in my phone.
who are you looking at when you're talking?
Half the time I'm trying to make sure that I'm not going to get hit by a car because usually
Yeah.
I'm literally on the road.
Okay, who is looking back at you when you are talking?
I don't know. Shut up, Josh.
You are talking to yourself.
The first thing was a quote or a topic that I heard, and I was like, damn, yes. The topic that it came across my ears, it was about therapy. So I feel like you can talk really good about that, but I spun it, curveball, surprise, from a coaching perspective.
Mm-hmm. And
any perspective.
if you're working with someone and they are trying to help you do anything, I think this applies.
Yeah. It's the whole lights in a dark room. So,
So explain what you mean.
So I'm going to kind of talk about it as like coaching, all of that.
Yeah.
As a coach providing a programming, God, that is so like just cliche, but as a coach providing programming,
support.
Sure. Good word. I can essentially take a really dark room that is the person who is looking for support.
Mm-hmm.
They are in that dark room.
Yeah. Lights are off.
Yes.
Windows are closed.
Yes. My role and what I do is turn the lights on in that dark room. And that just makes all of they said mess in that room visible.
Yep.
But in terms of cleaning up that mess, which in this situation is seeing the results and changing your habits, all of that is up to the person. So even while the lights in that dark room have been turned on and the room is now illuminated, it still doesn't mean that success or anything is going to come of it. And I think for me, that was quite eye-opening and reflective for me, because every time I support someone, I want them to have the most success. I want them to completely transform their lives because I'm fucking passionate about them and I know they can do it. But that doesn't mean that they do.
Yeah. So I when we're done talking about this, I want you to say the word habits to me, okay? Because I have a thought, but I don't want to derail what we're talking about right now.
I don't have a pen to write it down.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
So in this concept of turning the lights on in a dark room, you're right. Like someone might come to you and they're in this dark room and the only thing they have is, I'm going to say the voices. The voices are just our internal thoughts. And those internal thoughts are probably something along the lines of, I'm fat.
Yeah, you suck.
You suck. You can't do it.
Nobody likes you.
Yeah. Everyone's looking at you. People are going to make fun of you. Like all of those negative thoughts. It's the only thing in the room because everything else is dark.
Right.
The only thing you can do is hear those thoughts. What you do is you come in and turn a light on. And I would even say each light in the room has its own switch, and you just start flipping switches. So you might start talking to them about their relationship with food, one light switch. You might start talking to them about how active they are, another light switch. You might start talking to them about what a gym might do for them, another light switch, and so on and so forth until the room is fully lit. And you've now given them education about everything in that room. So they're now aware of the mess. Now I'm going to come to my point, because something you said there, and I'm going to challenge it, is
Habits.
habits. You said they might continue with their own habits. As soon as you've turned those lights on, it's no longer a habit.
It's a choice. Okay.
Because they are now in a lit room making a conscious choice whether or not they're going to use the information that they have gathered
Right.
to do something about the problem,
Yeah.
or they're going to continue to close their eyes, even though the lights are on in the room, and listen to those voices.
Yes. And I guess there would be people who would, their eyes are open, the lights are on, they would feel and think that they have to do it all at once, clean it all up at once.
Yeah. Let's think about how we clean our house. Can you clean the kitchen and the basement at the same time?
No.
Does it make sense then, if we're talking about this as several different light switches, and we're saying a room, but maybe it's a house is a
Sure.
better analogy. The lights are off in the house and you walk into each room, flip them on, and each room represents a different thing.
Mhm.
If you think you're going to clean up the mess in all of those rooms in that house all at once, you're fucking delusional.
Yeah, not realistic whatsoever.
That's just not how things work. Pick a room.
Mhm.
Get really good at that
Pick
room.
one thing. Yeah.
Once that room is spotlessly clean and it's effortless to keep it clean, move to another room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I guess it kind of goes back to that all or nothing mindset too.
yep, it does. And this is a really simple analogy to break that all or nothing mindset down, because you physically cannot be in two rooms at the same time.
Mhm.
You cannot clean things. You cannot solve the problem of making a lifestyle change all at once.
Mhm.
It starts in one room,
Yeah.
starts in one place, and slowly branches out from there.
And that's
You
where the
might,
success comes from.
the lights might be on in all the rooms, so now you're aware that the whole house is a cluttered mess.
And you're seeing the work that is still to come.
Yeah. But shrink it down to what's in that room and what is the biggest priority. What do you need the most? Maybe it's the kitchen you need the most, and maybe the kitchen is the place you're going to start.
Yeah.
And you're going to get really good at that and dial it in.
Sounds like it might be nutrition.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
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 Maybe it's the exercise room that is the biggest problem because you're on your ass all day, every day, and don't move at all. And if you moved your body even a little bit,
Mhm.
you'd see some progress and you'd probably feel better.
Good job.
Yeah,
I have one more.
that was a really good. We went from the dark room to the dark house to lighting up all of the rooms and recognizing things.
I picked all of these topics. I did that.
Good.
I did that.
You did.
Okay, then another thing that I saw, and again, I feel like it's the voices inside the head.
Yeah.
It was comparing two different types of goals.
Yep.
There's the aesthetic goal.
Okay.
Or the athletic goal.
Okay. Can you define them?
So the aesthetic goal is very appearance based.
Okay.
It's when you are comparing yourself. I want to look like that person. I want my own Kate Adams transformation.
I want to look like Dwayne Johnson.
Sure, that is an aesthetic goal.
Not going to happen, but hey.
So the idea around an aesthetic goal is you could have a win. You could have the tiniest little win of, I don't know, I'm going to compare it to pants. Anyway, you're down a pant size. You have that win. Yeah. Then you look on social media, you look at the person beside you, I don't know, wherever you are, and you immediately compare yourself to that. Your little aesthetic goal that you just accomplished is completely out the window because you're still comparing yourself to someone else.
Yeah, and I feel like we could do an entire episode on comparing ourselves to others and how hazardous that is.
Yeah.
Because they're not us.
Right. I think we've talked about it a lot.
I think we have in different ways. But I think, like, let's just label it as it is. When we compare ourselves to other people, that is not helping us.
Yeah.
That will never, ever be a pathway for you to feel happy or for you to accomplish your goals.
If that is the soul.
If that is where you're basing things off of.
Yes.
You are never going to accomplish that. I am never going to look like Kate. Like, let's be real here. There are a lot of reasons why.
You did try. There was that one time where you dressed up.
There was that one Halloween. I tried my best, but I'm always going to fall short of that because I'm not you.
Yes. So then there's the athletic goal. And that athletic goal is basically tied to numbers and data. The athletic goal, I wanted to run a marathon. I fucking ran a marathon.
Yeah.
That's my win. Not a single person could take that away from me because I did it. I was the only thing that I was comparing it to.
Yeah.
Someone wants to do high rocks.
How about it? That's
Go for it. That's your goal. No one can take that away from you. You want to bench 200 pounds. Absolutely.
There's a way to train for that.
Exactly. Once you hit that point, your PR, it's yours.
Yeah.
That is yours. You never would.
I would
compare to someone else when it comes to that because it's your win.
If I'm setting goals, I'm not setting a goal to say I want to be where X person is in life.
Yes.
I'm setting a goal. This is what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
This is what I want for me.
Yes.
And I'm setting it using a reference point that is measurable.
Yes.
That requires some kind of data.
Yes.
To say that I want to look like someone else.
Yeah.
Or I want a certain body type. That is not really measurable.
Right.
That's not attainable. And it's probably not realistic because you're never going to be that person.
Exactly. So athletic goals, I'm going to tie this now to this environment, this gym, the people who come to this gym.
Yeah.
If you have a goal of leg pressing 360 pounds, you best believe you need to know the numbers that you are using on leg press, be it PT, small group, whatever. You need that data to be able to reach the goal. Just like a bench press, just like a squat, just like a dumbbell curl, for crying out loud. If you don't have in the back of your mind that data of hope, here's the comfortable weight, here's the weight I want to get to.
Yeah.
You have to know the data.
Yeah. I think, and this probably comes from a place of you getting messages pretty consistently where someone will say, I want to look toned.
Ugh, I just scheduled a post on Instagram. Sorry, my
And the
microphone.
first question I always ask when you say this to me is, what is their definition of tone?
They
People don't know what that
no
means.
idea.
Like, that is such an arbitrary term. Do you want to look muscular? Do you want to be lean?
Bulky.
Do you want to be bulky? Do you want to be jacked? Like, what do you mean by tone? Most people will say, I want to be able to see some muscle definition. Okay, that actually takes
Exactly.
years.
Yes, yes.
Like,
But I
and
think
that's a conversation to have. But where I'm going with this is, having a body type is no different than saying, I want to look like
yes, yes.
whoever.
But even that word toned that you threw out there, toned is relative to the fucking person.
Yeah.
Your version of toned, if you came to me as a potential client and you want to look toned,
Yeah.
well, Joe Blow over there, their version of toned is going to be completely different.
Yeah. That's what I mean by it's arbitrary.
Exactly. It's a completely.
Yeah. It's a moving line all the time.
Yes, perfect. Moving line. Yes.
And if you are tying your thoughts of success to something that is always moving, you're never going to get a sense.
It's not fair to move the goalposts.
Yeah, you're never going to get a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
You're never going to feel success.
Yeah.
Because the finish line, the goalpost, the target is always going to be moving.
Yeah.
And you're never going to be rewarded. So the only place you can go is, this sucks. I can't do it. It's unachievable.
Yeah.
I give up.
So I think part of the athletic goal conversation that I wanted to have, for PT and small group stuff, it's fairly easy to know the data because I'm writing it down. Your coach in here is writing it down. They are keeping track for you and giving you that data, and they're basically going to be helping you push towards that goal.
Yeah.
If you are someone who comes here for boot camps or larger group offerings, and you have no idea the weights that you should be using, then it's time for you to wake up a little bit, recognize the weights that you're picking up. Yes, it's a larger group, and some would say it's impossible to lift heavy, but why? Why is it impossible to lift heavy in a group setting? It shouldn't be any more hard.
The thing, and I would be curious if you did this in a few boot camps this week, but watch people that pick up heavy or try to challenge them with themselves with heavy, if they try to move the heavy weight at the same pace that they move a smaller weight.
Yes. Right.
Because of course, then it's going to be like, it's not going to feel good.
Yeah.
If you're lifting heavier, you're going to do less reps.
Absolutely.
You're going to move the weight less.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you're working less hard.
But it's important to pay attention to the weights, to the dumbbells you're picking up, to the barbells that you're picking up from week to week when you're repeating those same movements that are core foundational movements when it comes to strength training. You have to know, that's part of the effort. Yes, showing up is hard. Yes, doing 45 or whatever seconds of work is important. But if you truly have zero idea of the weights that you should be using and you can be using, you're already shooting yourself in the foot.
I also think, and this is just from my own observations, in the boot camp setting, people tend to move less weight because they're trying to get a high number of reps. I would challenge that almost really isn't strength training. Like, you're not training for power movements at that point. You're training for endurance.
Yes. There's a reason that the timer is set to what we set it to.
Yeah.
There's a reason we want you to aim for somewhere between 8 and 12 reps, depending on the movement, of course. There are certain movements that you're going to get more, certain movements you're going to get less.
Well, and to put this in context, if I go over and I pick up two 10-pound dumbbells, and you give me 40 seconds to hammer out as many curls as I could do, I'm going to do 20 to 40, probably at least 30 curls in that time. Now you move it up to 25 pounds, I'm probably going to do 12.
Yeah.
Why am I doing so much less? Like, am I trying to hammer those 12 out as fast as I can?
It's harder, and it's literally supposed to be.
My muscles are going to be moving more slowly, but you could take it even further. And the way that I tend to train when I'm doing like curls and stuff is I might do 6 reps.
Yeah.
I might do 4 to 6 reps, and I'm picking up the 40s.
Yes, and
because I'm going
those
for
are failure reps.
power movements.
But you're getting to failure. You're
Yeah.
actually getting to failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's something that I just kind of wanted to write home about when it came to the data goals.
Yeah. There are different types of strength, and there are different types of strength training is what I'm trying to say along here. And I think it's important for people to recognize if the thing that you're doing isn't getting you to what you want, there are different things you could do
Yes.
to try.
Even in this exact same situation.
Yeah.
The exact same class, the exact same session, the exact same hour of the day.
Yeah.
You can take the exact same format and change it.
Yeah.
But it's a choice that you have to make.
Yeah.
All of these, every single session that we offer here, PT, small group, larger group, whatever it is, they may not think that they have a choice. Like they may think that it's my choice. Well, no, the effort that you put out is completely up to you.
You're just turning the lights on in the house.
Yeah, like you are in control of your workout entirely.
Yeah.
I'm just in charge of putting the shit out.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, like, and even with putting the shit out, you're really just in charge of creating the routine that they're going to follow, the structure.
Yeah.
You're essentially setting the room up and turning the lights on and saying, go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But
it's
I
up to
can't
the
force-
person
yeah.
to decide how they're going to use that equipment in the time they're given.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Because you could just stand there and stare at it if you really wanted to.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
That's all I have. Anything that you wanna?
No, I don't think so. I think it's nice to be back doing a podcast. I think I've missed the last few weeks where we haven't
I know
recorded any.
it's been a hot mess express. But I mean, right now I feel like we're kind of coasting, cooking. Yes, weekends and things are really busy, but this is going to happen.
Yeah,
for sure.
We can easily set aside a couple hours to do this.
Yeah.
And yeah, these chats are like, they're just good, and it's useful information for people. Like the feedback that I get is people like to listen.
Good.
So, yeah.
So as always, we hope that you can take some time to reflect on some of the topics that we put out there today. Also, take some of the tools, some of the points that we've made, and implement them in your day-to-day life as soon as we shut this down. Go for it.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
I knew it. I knew that's where you were going.
Yeah, if you like what you're hearing, or send us a message. If you're somebody that is part of our community that wants to come on, I think in some upcoming episodes we're going to try really hard to bring in some other members of our community to chat about different things and bring some expertise. If there's something that you would love for us to talk about, let us know.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
Maybe not any. I was gonna say nothing's off the table, but I suppose there are a couple things that might be off the table for me.
No, nothing's off the table. I will push Kate through anything.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We will see you next week.